Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today I have a special treat for you guys. I have on Mr. M.K.Davis. That's pretty cool. I reached out to him, and he accepted immediately. We talked briefly in the green room. To my first very quick impressions, he seems to be a very nice gentleman, and I appreciate him so very much for coming on. So if you keep finding yourself coming on the show, and you like that segue right there, I did. Please like and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and go ahead and click that bell notification. That way you don't miss any of your favorite Eye of Jupiter content. You can also find me on Rumble. You can also find me on Spotify. You can find me on, oh my God, there's so many things. Instagram, Facebook. You can contact me if you have a story, if you want to talk about some things at the Eye of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. And you can also find me over on Twitch. If you're interested in some merchandise, I do have a couple t-shirts, a couple posters, some hats, and some mugs out there. If you guys are interested, go down and click in the link below. So with all that being said, let's please welcome to the Eye of Jupiter, Mr. M.K.Davis.
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
good to see you,
Hey,
man. Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to one of your biggest supporters and one of your fan is the incorrect word, but one of his favorite researcher in the field. Darren Franks, he had a very interesting encounter where he hasn't been able to even still to go back in the woods and go back to hunting that he loves in Alabama, and he was ostracized, and he couldn't tell nobody about it. He was kind of freaked out about the whole situation, and he just started looking into it, and he ran across your videos and some of your explanations and the way you go about your research, and he found it to be very comforting. And I would like to speak on the behalf of Darren. Thank you so very much.
Well, I'm sure glad to hear it. Yeah, Alabama's got quite a bit of Bigfoot activity. Uh, it's from the whole state, really. From the mountainous areas on down to the coast. It's
This was
it's
in
pretty wild.
I believe this was in Bankhead State Forest or Bankhead State Park. He had a special hunting permit, and he was able to take an animal, take a deer, and he left the entrails. And then when he came back, I think the following afternoon for the evening hunt, trying to get a buck, they were gone. And so he just kind of walked up to like these waterfalls that were there because he was like, nothing's happening. It's getting closer to dusk, or maybe it was the next morning. I'm not quite sure. I think it was the evening. That's why it was so enticing. He was looking at the waterfalls, and he heard a twig snap behind him. Looked behind him. This creature or whatever. I'm sure you can tell me a little bit about what you think. Kind of freaked him out, and then it's just like seen him, and then it ran across the falls and up the hills, and he's yeah, and he came on and told me that, and like you said, he just directed me to you. And could you, Mr. Davis, could you please tell me or tell my listeners, a little bit about yourself and where we can find you, and a little bit maybe about your research?
Well, I got into the Bigfooting scene, kind of backed into it. I was doing astrophotography as a hobby, and this was back during the days of film. And you learn a little bit about something, fooling around with it, and I learned a little bit about film rescuing faint details. And one day I saw, and this is when the internet first came into being, and I saw these published pictures on the internet of the Patterson subject, but they were clear. I mean, they were just really high quality pictures, and I said, well, you can't get a good frame from a bad film. There must be a good master copy somewhere this came off of. And so
Right.
I just began an inquiry, uh, and you make connections, and and so I did a little work on that particular frame, and boosted probably 30% on the resolution. And you started to see all kinds of things on it. I got an invitation to come up there to the Western Bigfoot Society and give a little presentation. That's in Oregon. And when I was there, I met people from Canada who had connections with other people. They all very supportive. And I told them I think that if I got the closer to the master, that I would have much more success with.
Yes, and the frame, I think it was let's see if I get the number right. I'm gonna do my best, Mr. Davis. I think it was frame number 254. Is this correct?
This was frame number 350.
It was 50 something. I tried. I tried. I thought I'd have a good recall of a memory. That frame you had, there was a video you had in your space there where you blew it up and you seen the eyes of this creature. And for me, it was just no doubt that is real because they love to say it's not, because the pundits and people who want to discount other people's accounts. But that frame number 350 is just the way you froze that, and then we're able to get a clear image of it was astounding.
Well, it just it kind of proved a little bit about what I was saying, that there was out there was a copy of this film that would probably tell its own story. It wouldn't need a lot of explanation. You
Wow.
know, we're born into this world recognizing certain things, and some of them is biomechanics. I mean, we know when we see the shoulder blades move. We recognize that, and if you look at closer to the original copy, you can see that happening. Uh, I could share a file there with you
Abs-
if you want me to.
Absolutely, sure, please,
Yeah, hold on here.
by all means. And you can give me all the links that you would like to show me. That way I can put them in the post notes, and that way people can go ahead and look at it themselves and come to their own conclusions.
All right, here we go. Okay, now, do you have my screen?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, here we
Yeah,
go.
I added it to the stage. There we are.
Hold on here.
Oh, take your time. Take your time. It's no. People are sitting on the edge of the seat, ready to check this out, just like myself.
Let's see here.
Wow.
I gotta find it here. Just a minute.
You're fine. Take your time, sir. Take your time, sir. No rush.
Back muscles right here. See that shoulder blade right there?
Yeah. Yes.
See it? See it
Right.
move?
Yes, I do.
And you see the glutes move independently from one another.
Yes,
People,
I do.
when I got into this, that was a major objection. They said it looks like a pillow. You don't see the independent glutes, and there they are. They just didn't have a good enough copy of the film. It's
Such an amazing encounter. This is Bluff Creek, California, 1967. Correct?
right, and you see like this right here. You see you see the breast jiggle.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's it's very much a female.
Yes.
That's not fake. So as time went on and things progressed, I began to get a little reputation for getting the good out of an image or out of a video or film.
True.
I've
True.
worked with other iconic films as well. The Zapruder film, I worked with it. I worked with the
No
Horrible Nick's
kidding.
film, the Kennedy
That one I don't know,
assassination.
but the Zapruder film is very interesting.
Oh, it
That would
is.
have to be a separate podcast. I would love to talk to you about the Zapruder film. That would be
Oh yeah, yeah.
incredible.
It's very revealing, especially if you break it down and do a breakdown on it. Where you can oscillate the file back and forth, things like that. You give your mind the best chance at interpretation.
Wow.
What are you seeing here? Uh, and
Yeah.
and so you don't have those poorer quality images to judge by. Uh, it's pretty interesting. I've made some conclusions that I believe that what I'm seeing on the film, but we can get into that another time. But
Yes, sir. Now,
uh,
yeah,
go ahead.
please, please. No,
The Patterson film is divided into walk sequences. I call them. It's breaks in the film where she walks over from toward the wood line, and then she falls over, and either on all fours or very close. And then the next scene, she's out on the sandbar walking upstream. So
right.
I divided into those. Uh, so here's a complete walk right here. It's the second walk sequence. Let's see here.
This is the famous video. Yes. What's interesting is if you look at the gait, the head does not go up and down, which a lot of people have indicated in their encounters that the head doesn't bob. It just kind of goes straight across.
Yeah,
Very
it's
interesting.
not perfectly smooth, but it's
No,
it's it's unusual enough that it kind of stands out. A person who walks like that, you're gonna notice it. And
yeah.
she's on broken ground. That's not smooth ground. It's all kind of flotsam and jetsam out there. Uh, so she doesn't look back at her feet for 4 steps right there. When she turns her head around, looks at them, she's
She's not looking where she's
memorized.
going.
She's memorized in front of her, and she knows exactly where to put her feet. She
Have you
never
zoomed
breaks
in on
stride.
the foot itself when the foot goes up? Have
Sure,
you
sure.
isolated those pictures?
I've got some really good ones, high quality pictures. So hold on just a minute. Let me go back over here.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Hancock here. Let that populate just a minute. Well, maybe
Yeah.
it has.
Their
See if
computer's
that.
faster than mine, so we're good to go. Oh, wow.
You can see count the toes.
You most certainly can. Look at the width. That's what's incredible. You can the arches, well, it's kind of hard to see because it's so bright in the sunlight, but you can see there's an arch of sorts. You can see the pads,
It's
and
the
you can
foot
count each
is
and every toe.
it, it's not quite what you would find on a modern person, a modern man, but there are examples of it amongst modern men. In other words, yeah, there may be one in a 500 that has a foot like that. Uh, it's it's
Okay.
uh, it's not to say that that it's normal. It's not normal. I have a flat foot, very flat foot. People accuse me of having a Sasquatch foot.
Oh,
It uh
I see
it,
that you
it
actually had you said most accidents happen at home. You had something happened to your foot recently.
yeah, my dog. My dog is sick with cancer, and declining, and he's weak, and he
Yes,
just
sir.
his feet slipped out from under him, and he sat down on my toes with his tailbone, and that hurt so bad.
uh,
But I couldn't fuss at him because he's just he can't
yeah, I
help
see
it.
the picture. I said I get to see. I get to. I get to. I'm looking at Mr. Davis's feet here. But yeah, yeah, I had a dog too who went through some things towards the end, and we had to
This
help him out
hand
too.
right here
Things
is
do happen when
unusual.
that starts to happen to them.
This hand right here is
Can you put it
typically
back up?
found. This curved hand, they call it a cupped hand, is typically found amongst the old ancient types of humans that they dig out of the caves and stuff.
Like
It's
proto humans, yes. Uh
Yeah,
huh.
proto humans, and it's a leftover trait from the days of climbing trees. It's a grasping
Interesting.
hand. Yeah, and that you can find a lot of information about that. But there it is, and Patterson didn't know anything about that. You know,
Have there been accounts, Mr. Davis? Have there been accounts of them actually being in trees?
oh yes, yes, there has.
Okay.
I used
Wow.
to have 3 photos that somebody sent me. There was 3 of them in 3 different trees and all around each other, you know.
Right.
Um, you know, you know, photo only gives you just so much information, but
True. At least 1,000 words, though.
yeah, it's sure better than nothing.
Yeah.
I try to tell people, you know, this day and age, if you go out, take 2 video cameras. Yeah, you're going to need to film yourself filming this Sasquatch before anybody believes it's not AI. You know,
Yeah.
AI has kind of forced its way in on people's psyche and created an aura of unbelievability.
Right.
You know,
It's created
people
a
think this
circumstance.
is hoaxed.
Yeah, it's created this like cloud of like unbelievability, and you got motors in the back of your background. I got motors in my background, and it's quite sad, really. So it's hard to vet a lot of these. I think that's a good idea. I also enjoy rest in peace, Mr. Scott Carpenter's idea of having a camera behind him, and he's caught some incredible evidence as well. So maybe 3 cameras would be the way to go nowadays. Who knows?
The more the better.
True.
Uh, yeah, they got technology continuing to come on. Uh, I met a gentleman. Um, his name is Todd Gates, who had a lot of experience with some of the newer programs. He contacted me and asked me if I had anything that I could send him of quality that he could run it through his program. And I sent him one that I thought would be really good for that. And what come out of there was just blow your mind. Uh,
Okay.
let, let me go to that.
Absolutely.
Let me see here.
Make sure I want to remind you that I definitely want to go through the fence jumper, I think it's called, or the fence
Okay.
climber video. That video was the one right after I seen it. I was like, okay, I'm writing him. So yeah, I want to make sure I get to that because it's a little bit of a personal question. There it is, frame 350. There it is.
That's what he sent
Yeah,
back, and he says it was not done with AI. And I checked out all
look at
these
that.
details. I compared point by point, and it it would all everything that you see here was on the original. It was just not as clear, but you could see it once you knew it was there. You could see it.
Right.
So you there's your eye, and you
The
see
glint,
individual
the glint,
hairs. This
on
is
the eye.
this right here
Is
is a braid. It's a braid of
oh my,
hair, and
oh my,
it
oh
it
my God, dude.
I knew that it was there, but he didn't. So you got to understand
Oh
that
my
when it
didn't even
popped
see
like it
that.
did, I knew that he didn't know anything about it, so he couldn't have used AI.
Right.
Uh,
That is incredible. I didn't even see that, Mr. Look at that. What what would you attribute to that? Did they actually braid each other's hair? I didn't even I know that I've heard of like horses' hair being braided. I've heard of that. But now this leads credence to that concept as well. If they're doing it to themselves, why wouldn't they do it to an animal like a look at that?
it is absolute.
That
I
is
can show you
fascinating.
another. I can show you a video file where you can follow the movement of that braid in the wind.
Yeah,
Uh, Look at the eyelashes. It's got some missing.
that is incredible. It looks so human. It has this
Well, I mean,
quality about it.
more than
Quality about it, I would
likely,
say. I would
I, I wouldn't hesitate to call it a human, but I would hesitate to call it a sapien sapien. Uh,
oh
it,
yeah, yes.
it it's something other, and that fits with what the Hoopa Indians said. They had a belief that the Bluff Creek area used to contain
Okay.
another type of human, and they went back to the
That's
stars through a hole in the sky.
Wow,
And
sounds like a
that was,
portal. First of all,
yeah, it does. That's
um,
that's what they believed. You see this scar
there's a
right
lot
here?
of Indian. Yes,
It's pretty
there's a
scarred
lot of
up
Indian folk. Look at the lips. Look at the lips.
up in the
Wow, there's a lot of
That's
Indian
this
folklore
came off this came off the
that
master.
that's,
This came off the master copy of the film. So it makes all the difference in the world. You can
that's
get to a
cool.
point where your upscaling and stuff really works.
Well, whoever your friend is, again, I mean, I know you've seen it, but that is such an incredible picture.
It is it should
Oh,
be
I have to put that on my
it,
wall.
it, it should put Bigfoot in the books, but people there are people who have their own ideas about what a Bigfoot is, and they ain't gonna even look at this. They think it's like a Gigantopithecus or something. Um, so they'll just turn around and put their back to you.
Well,
That's it's
Gigantopithecus has a different foot, as far as I know. Like the toe is kind of the fifth toe, the is extended to the side, as far as I know. As far as I know.
that area up in Bluff Creek area has been it's a wild place. It's the southern Siskiyou Range, and it's only about 70 miles from Mount Shasta. Have you ever heard of
Okay.
Mount Shasta?
Yes, sir. I've had a couple of people who've been there and have told me about some of their like their stories of being there, what they believe is in there, like ascended masters under the mountain, and a lot of things of that nature. It's kind of a woo place.
Yeah, right. A strange, strange place. Well, there's a guy who claims to have entered a cave system at Mount Shasta, and he came out of it at the headwaters of Bluff Creek.
Okay,
So you see
that would make sense.
how vast that would be, a 70-mile plus probably cave system. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's true or not, but it certainly got my attention because uh, I knew of a creek, a little babbling brook. It's not Bluff Creek, but it's the one coming off the mountain. And it disappeared into a hole in the ground. It didn't make it to Bluff Creek. So I know it's going somewhere. It's a sizable amount of water.
Right.
So
Right.
it's going underground, and I know what that does. It makes caves.
There's that interesting idea that these creatures, there's these people who, they're all, they call it the woo, and then you have the people who are saying, oh, it's a flesh and blood. I think it's somewhere in the middle, from what I've been listening to over this past year since I've started the show. And they like to fight and all that, but at the same time, like the another an idea that I've been hearing, a lot of people will say it's, it's Nephilim. There's other people who will say that they're proto-humans, and that they also then like hide themselves in the cave systems, especially like in the Kentucky and Appalachian region. And what you're saying then, since it's also connected to Mount Shasta, gives it a nice little extra, little, I guess you would say thumbs up on the idea of being mystical, but as well as some type of flesh and blood type humanoid. Interesting.
Yeah, I want to show you something else about regarding the cave systems uh, that you can see on the film. That gives you, if you're an observer, you can see this. Uh, let's see here. I just saw it a while ago. I know it's up here. There, right here. This is in the early part of the filming when the movie is so
Yes.
violently shaky, but there's more science in that early part. You see the glutes, all the hair's worn off. So I know she spent a sizable amount of her time sitting down. doing the boot scoot.
Right. Okay. I zoomed in on for
Yeah, yeah.
myself.
You see the
Yeah.
rear
Yes.
end?
Yes.
And
Yes.
she's worn the hair off the inside half, down under there next to the skin, and that means she's been sitting down at least under an overhang, where you got to sit down and scoot around. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Once you get past the part, does Bigfoot exist, which this film should suffice for that, then you can get into the what is it? What's the nature of it? And some of its ways of making a living. In the rough country, you can tell that this thing
Yeah.
is it goes underground or goes in caves or goes somewhere where you gotta sit down.
I think the internet has actually helped quite a bit getting the people who have been, like made fun of to kind of come together and then share their experiences as well as share their evidence. And the one that's always gotten me is why haven't we found any bones and things like that? But I would think if they're braiding their hair, they're probably doing what we do and bury their what I mean? They're hard to find and elusive anyway. So why would you think you'd find a grave of such an elusive animal to begin with? You know what I mean? So
Right. Hold on, I'm gonna get you something on the braid here.
okay.
Let's FI back up. Uh-oh, I missed the B. There it is. Let's just get one of these MPEGs here.
There we go.
That's the braid right here. Now watch it. You can see
Yes.
the ear. It's the wind has blown it up off the ear. It was covering the ear, so it's resting on the cheek. And that's an enhanced, and you can see a herringbone pattern.
That is incredible.
And I know another place that
That is
shows
incredible.
it as well. This is braid walk complete, 70%. See it right there? It's gonna stop right there. There, see it? That's it right there. That's when the wind picks it up and brings it around to the cheek. It's right.
Uh-huh.
It's floating out in space there. Watch it. All of that's valid for science if science wanted to take it on. That you can tell a lot about an ear. If it's a normal ear or not. Um, but you got to get past
Yeah.
does it exist?
Why do you think they're so reluctant?
I think it's monetary considerations. To watch it right there. See it swing out
Yes.
there? That's it. I see it right there. And when you
Oh, it's a
saw it on
lot
that
bigger than
real,
it did. Yeah, that's a lot bigger than you think.
when I saw it on
Yes.
that, upscale version that Todd Gatewood did, I knew he knew nothing about it. So that was it told me that he did not use AI because AI takes what you know about and improves it. No one knew about the braid, and there it was. It popped out,
Right.
very well.
Right.
Uh, so
This thing has to this braid, it looks like it's between 6 to 8 inches long, at
it
least.
might be that long. It's hard to tell for sure, but
Right. There it is.
well, you know what anything that can make a braid is probably not a Gigantopithecus.
Right. It has a slightly and larger brain because that's
Yeah,
and and it's very how would you say it? Like its dexterity in its fingers and it's practiced it. It's been shown. This is not something that you just do. It's kind of passed down. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting thing.
it's a cultural thing. They
That
teach each
perfectly
other.
said. Yes.
Yeah. So
I've
it's
never seen the bread. I've
well,
never seen that. That is so fascinating.
any of these items should serve to put put at least this one Bigfoot in the books. It's pretty clear it's not a suit. You can't make a suit with the breasts swinging around and the breasts jiggle
No.
about about like if they were full of water, the density of water. They're about a half step behind her ups and down with her legs. Uh, so it's pretty clear to see that they're real.
Right. And you can see how like you were saying, the gluteus maximus there, how they're kind of like moving independently, which would also not be something that you would find on a movie set. Even nowadays, just if you're any type of biologist, you would look at that and have like a deeper, like, hey, there's something here. And have you talked to biologists about this? Have you been able to get in the door with any of this?
I go to Bigfoot conferences, but I don't know that biologists hang out there. There may be a few, but they have their own ideas. Uh, when a person has their own ideas, they shut the door a lot to the facts and to truth. Um,
Yeah.
I had a real highly stabilized version of the Zabruder film, and I asked the fellow would he like to see it, and he said no, because when the Zabruder film is at its worst, then you can say what you want to say about it. This matches my idea of what happened to JFK. You know, but if you show a real clear version of the Zabruder film, it might blow that out of the water. So he'd rather not see it.
Yeah.
Just keep it away.
There's a lot of that, isn't there? There's a lot of that, isn't there? If you crack someone's paradigm of what they believe, the first thing they'll do is they'll either shun it or get mad. But eventually, I think the culmination of evidence, like yours, I didn't know there was a braid, is going to break that eventually. There's going to be a watershed moment in which mainstream science is going to have to accept these things exist. There's going to have to be. I just don't see it being any other way.
Yeah, well, it's going to hurt their feelings. I can tell you that. They may have to do it, but only because the Patterson film is much better than anyone knew about. When they released any of it to the public, it was a degraded copy. Uh, As a matter of fact, the Patterson subject was basically just a silhouette. It had no surface detail. And they say, "Well, this
Right.
we saw this, and we want you to believe this." But it wasn't their best image, and there's a reason for that too. I've spent the last almost 30 years looking into it.
Oh,
I know quite a bit about it, and
yeah.
it's people being people. It's
Yeah.
there's reasons why
I'm
they
I'm well
protect
aware. I'm well
themselves.
aware. Yes, they protect their financial interests because it's the same thing with like Egyptology. When you say, this makes no sense because of XYZ, they're like, they shut it down. They don't allow you to do any, like, if you go there, you have to be a tourist. You can't be a scientist and go take measurements and stuff. You can't do that there because that would go against the mainstream narrative in which people then base their entire, academic careers upon making money and producing books. It's the same thing with what you're presenting here, Mr. Davis.
Well, yeah, who was it? Graham Hancock that says, "Don't believe the word of anybody who has ologist
Yes.
after their name." That's
the
unfortunately,
one that you
unfortunate.
the one that you made me
It,
remind me of. Yeah, what was the one that you were saying when people have their own ideas? I think that was Einstein who said, "As soon as you say that you know, then you give up thinking."
yeah, absolutely. That's
That was interesting.
100%
I
true.
always love that.
Well, I'm interested in how these people come about getting interested in this subject when they have these self-imposed barriers. You know, they're not willing to look at all the facts. Uh, so I guess you could say that I'm an oleologist. I study people with degrees.
I love that term. That's a shirt if I've ever heard one. Great.
And
All right.
I learned, these people have recognizable traits.
Yeah.
You can kind of
Ego.
tell, do
Yeah.
I want to waste my time with this fella? You know,
Yeah. And they're also like degree laden, and if you don't have a degree in their field and therefore you're unworthy of their attention, there's a lot of that going around. A lot of chest. Well, that's pretty cool pun, like chest thumping. And
yeah.
it's just odd. It's just an odd thing.
Well, I watched Graham Hancock, and he's not an expert in all things, but he's a good asker of questions.
Very
You know,
inquisitive.
and
I've read his books. I've read his books. Well, at least one of them. I
it,
read the original
it's
Fingerprints of the
okay
Gods.
to
Yeah.
be wrong, but what
Yeah.
you don't want to fail to be right by not even asking any questions. You know, uh,
Me and you are going to
that's
be
what.
good friends. That
Yeah,
right there struck a chord. You don't want to fail to be right. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
that's
That's
what you do
perfectly
when
said.
you're afraid to ask questions. You're afraid to be right, and if you're right, then somebody's going to be mad at you. It
Yeah,
just
but what's
comes
wrong
with
with being
it.
wrong? There's nothing
There's
wrong with.
nothing wrong with being wrong as long as it's done, honestly.
I
You're
agree.
looking for the truth.
Yeah.
That's how you get to the truth. Actually, it's a method, tried and
Yeah.
true. As you weed
Yeah.
out the this is wrong,
There's,
that's wrong, that's wrong. Finally, you're left with what's right.
there's no such thing, for example, as scientific truth. The only thing there is the method. That's what science is. And a lot of people have missed that. There's a scientific method. It needs to be reproduced time and time again. And even then, there's maybe something in there that could be wrong, but that's how we get to the truth, at least partially. At least partially. And yeah, it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing, but it's like you were saying, it's you know, it's financial, and people don't want to put their political as well as academic careers on the line, saying, there's something to this film, and it's just a sad thing if you ask me.
Well, the film was taken in Indian sacred land. It was absolutely sacred. The Indians fought the logging company tooth and nail. They formed human chains to try to prevent equipment from coming on there and taking those big trees. They had two peaks. One was called Medicine Peak. The other was called Chimney Rock, and that's where they believed that those pre-humans went back to the stars through a hole in the sky from off those two peaks. And they train their shamans to this day. They go up there and spend 40 or 50 days fasting and praying and learning how to be a shaman. I've heard them chanting.
Yeah, yeah, there's something to that. There's something to that. Now, to kind of switch gears a little bit, that question I wanted to ask you: the fence jumper or the fence climber, I think it's called. It's one of the
Yeah.
two. This, to me personally, might be the second best film I've ever seen.
A lot of people
Did you
believe that. Uh,
have you recorded this yourself? Was this you who
no,
did the
no, I didn't.
recording?
I didn't record it. It was recorded by a group of researchers there in East Texas that,
Okay.
let me tell you what, I admire those people because I hate to call them habituators because they did use food, but basically what they were trying to do was to provoke a response any way they could. And so the fence
Yeah.
climber, here's one. I blocked his face out because he didn't want to have public recognition. Here's one of them taken there at the time. I was using him to
Okay.
measure this fence. See how tall that fence is? Look at that fence.
Yes. Yes. I
Well,
thought that was you in the picture.
no, that's not me. That's not me. I'm in some pictures. I went up there and spent a weekend, and I have some pictures of me, up there. But that's not me. Let's see. Let's go
I
to the
seen
fence
it.
climber.
And yeah, let's go to the fence climber. This one absolutely floored me. And like I said, this was the video where I said, okay, let's go ahead and let's contact this fellow and let's see what's up, because this is such a great piece of evidence. And I didn't know it existed. I didn't know it existed. One on your channel. Make sure you send me all your links to Mr. Davis. That way I can get them out there. That way people can
Oh,
go and
sure.
discover your stuff. Yeah. What you've been doing for the last 30 years.
Let's see. I'm trying to find a certain one. This just shows the bottom of the feet.
Yeah. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Okay. Let's get that enlarged the best you
See the
can.
see
All
the
right.
foot right there.
Uh-huh.
Now this was
Yes.
almost. It was almost
Yes.
completely. That back is level with this top wire on that fence.
Right.
That
He's like
fence is
crouching
running this
down and
straight.
like hiding in the vegetation. Yeah.
Well, that's beyond normal human dimensions. I had to
It's
brighten it up
huge.
to see it that good.
When was this shot? What year was this
It
taken?
was shot,
More or
I think,
less?
in 2002 or 2003.
Okay.
Let's
In
see.
in East Texas. All right.
See if that does.
Hello, my name is M.K.Davis.
Just let it roll there.
I'm going to be revisiting the fence climber video again.
Yeah, it's your voice, no worries.
Some new software. This software has resulted in some dramatic improvements in resolution. And as they say in astronomy, if you can increase it by just 1% resolution, you'll see 10 new things. What you're going to see here is very labor intensive, because what I did was to take each individual frame and run it through the deblurring process, and then reassemble it into a GIF file, and then present it here, and then film it off the screen. The reason why I want to film it off the screen, as always, and a lot of people email me about it, but I can actually show you or point to you something on the screen, using my cursor or my finger. And to me, let
me move a little farther
just
on.
Take a look for yourself. Watch this corner right here. Remember this guy. I brightened it up quite a bit in that corner.
There's his foot.
You see, he's going back and forth. Where he was almost in total darkness, he's no longer in total darkness. And you can also kind of see what color he is pretty good. It's very uniform, kind of a grayish color. Now let's just put it right here. Now I'm going to just wiggle it back and forth. Watch his left foot.
I'm going to move it on because I want to get to some other points here. I'm not sure this one covers it. It doesn't.
Can tell you some more.
Yeah. Let me find the entire thing.
Yeah, I gotta fix my internet. I'm gonna do it. That's the next.
Okay. Here I am, standing by the fence where the fence climber jumped over, and there's the fence climber's foot. I got them superimposed. See, when he jumped over the fence, he's almost got
Yeah.
his leg up even with my shoulder.
Yeah, there it is. Look how high that is to your shoulder.
Now you're gonna laugh when I tell you why this all was going on. I didn't find out till later on when I talked to the researcher. These guys had noticed that way on the back of the place there was a small road, county road, and a bridge, and people were throwing tires off that bridge. And they noticed that the tires were being moved around. So they gathered them all up and put a chain around them. And it provoked a response. It was the Bigfoot that were playing in it with the tires. And they grew mad, and they got night video with them roaring, and you can hear the tires bouncing. You know, they throw them up in the air.
Yeah.
Chains rattling. And they kept on messing with them over a long period of time. And they'd bring them tires closer and closer, put them up in a tree, and they tore the whole tree down, got them out. Then they chained them to what they call a 40 arc tree. One of those, they call it a horse apple tree, but the wood is incredibly strong. And it took them several hours of running at that tree, hitting it. But they finally broke it and took the tires. And so what you see here with the fence climber is they have staked those tires out in that garden. They drove a steel stake down in there
Okay.
and chained them to the stake. And these things couldn't even wait till dark. It was getting, close. But they ran up in there. And you'll hear on the original fence climber video, you'll hear these guinea fowl open up, and it sneaks
Okay.
down the fence line, and then you hear the guinea fowl, and then it runs back down the fence line. Let me see if
Yes.
I
Yes.
fence climber. Let me see if I can get that. That's the first one. That's going down, but I don't have the audio on this one. I'm going to find the audio. Fence climber comparison video. There he is coming back.
Right. Great video. Watch him climb the fence here, guys. Watch this. That is incredibly tall.
He zips right on across. I got it, I got it made up into an instructional video, but
Look how fast he moves too.
that's good.
You think this is a male, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, some people say they can see his jump. When he crosses, you can judge for yourself. Well, I got to find one that's not doing that. Hold on. Hear them guinea fowl? I still haven't.
Can't say I do. I thought that's what was happening. Like they were trying to sneak up on the chickens, and they made a noise and they ran back.
No, they're actually competing with one another to get to them tires. There's 2 or 3 of them there. There's a white one, and there's another one that color. Let's see. I may have to go back to another hard drive to find the right one I want. Yeah, I will. Hold on.
Still. All right, no worries. I'll take it back off here. Just tell me when you're ready. I'll throw it back up on the screen.
Okay, H drive. Fence climber for show. There it goes.
All right.
I got all kind of pictures on this one. Raw footage coming and going. Oh, here we go.
All right, guys, check it out. Now you can see why I contacted him. Look at this video footage.
Watch, he dives off in that corn. Listen to them guinea fowl now. Should be able to hear. Hear him?
Yeah.
That's when he run back. Because guinea fowls are like alarm dogs. You know, they set the alarm. They say somebody's here. They tell off on you.
Yeah. Oh, so he's like, "Oh, I'm being made. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And the fact that he just scales that fence that is every bit of, well, how tall are you, Mr. Davis?
I'm 5'8".
5'8".
The
So
guy
that
that's
fence is
standing by
about,
the fence, he's 5'11".
yeah. So it's about 6-foot fence, and he just, like me and you stepping over a 3-foot fence.
Yeah, very very nifty about doing it.
Very agile. Very agile.
I think I picked up his eyes right here. See right there, kind of a glow.
Hold on one second. I'm getting it back on there. Yep.
Hold on just a minute here.
Yeah, dude.
It won't expand, so that's as big as I can get it.
We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch Mr. Davis in action and what he actually does here.
There we go. There we go. See, he's got a conical shaped head.
That's his face, and conical head. Yep.
You see, there's it's kind of a white glow on either side of the nose. It's not much, but it's something.
Well, I wonder if you would send it. If you would send that video to the gentleman that you sent the Patterson-Gimlin shots to, what he would come up with. That would be interesting to see. Because that's
there's the East Texas videos are just unbelievable. I mean, I've got bunches of them I haven't released. I had a tub of about 50 6-hour long tapes. And it'll be going along there not even showing anything. And you better be staring at it like this, because they left a video camera going until the battery ran down. You know, so it's not like it's a game cam. So you have to watch the whole thing, and most of the time it's nothing going on. You take your eyes like this, and he'd likely come across that fence while you're looking away. You better be, looking.
Yeah.
But anyway, I found quite a bit of stuff on there, and some of it I didn't have context for, and I knew that this was not a these were people that were amateurs. They weren't professionals. You might get a Bigfoot recording, and then all of a sudden you get a commercial. It was a tape they were using in the house, and they took it and you put it into Bigfoot thing.
But that's where you get some of the best footage. But sometimes it's where you get some.
They didn't intend to release any of this. It was just for their own edification. But it was so fascinating to me. With the Whitey video, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Whitey's Run.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
It's a big white one that runs on all fours. Then he gets up on his hind legs and runs.
If you'd like to, you can enlighten me. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Okay, hold on here. Let me see if it's on this drive.
Okay, you tell me when you got it, and I'll pop it up there. I'll keep going back and forth.
Whitey's Run.
Busy.
Oh yeah. Don't mean to do that.
No, that's me doing it. It's not you.
Okay, hold on. Now this is pretty blown up. I need to get the original.
Okay.
Okay, let me go to F drive. All right, looks like it's doing a little better.
Okay.
This is still blown up. That's the all fours. Let me get a wide field. Okay, there's Whitey right here. See right here? He's on all fours, and I oscillated it back and forth so you can
Yeah.
see him. See how big he is? He's way behind that cow, and he's not too much smaller than the cow. And that's all this one's going to do. Let
And
me.
where was this taken? Where was this taken? If you could tell
The
me,
same,
where was
the
this
same
taken? If you could
place,
tell me,
East Texas,
same place.
same place. Let's see here. Whitey's run deblurred. High quality sharpened. There we go. Now just watch him. He's going to run all the way across, and he's going to go across this gap on 2 feet. Watch him.
Whoa.
Here he comes. Watch him.
Whoa. Oh.
He goes down in this creek and back up the other side. And I've been to
So
that very
fast.
spot. Believe me, there's nothing there to help him get across. It's steep banks like that on both sides. There he goes over here.
Okay. Oh, there he is. There he is.
I cut it off too fast. It was a little more to it. Uh, if I went back and got the original, which I have here somewhere, he goes a little longer, and you hear a vocalization, and it just goes something like "Yatta hey." It sounds like Native American.
There was a yeah. There was another audio version thing that you had where it was inside of a tractor barn, I think it was,
Oh
and they
yeah, yeah,
were like mimicking laughs and like human like speech,
yeah.
and that was also
I took a couple of months of effort. They went out it wasn't different people. It was across the spectrum. It was the farmer, the farmer's wife, the four researchers. Every day they called each other's name into the woods. And finally, this thing began to repeat it back. And that's what it's doing. That's what you hear. Pick it up on a camera mounted on the eave of that shed.
uh-huh.
I think I call that the shed talker.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
He don't say it exactly like they said it, but
Yeah.
this revisits the shed talker video. I don't want to revisit. Okay. This is the shed from a distance. I took that picture when I was out
Okay.
there.
That is definitely
The camera was mounted
attractive.
over here, I think. You could hear it. It came up inside that shed. They had a
Okay.
futon in there, and they put food in there. Let's see. Let me go back to this other one. Uh, I don't want to see them running. I want to hear them talking here. Wow. Let me back up a little more and go to another try. May not be on this one. Nope. Let's see here. Try this one.
Okay. What in the world is going on out there?
No, I think this is where I was at before. I've got it named something else is what I got. I don't remember what I've named it. I don't want to, I got, this
Okay.
is just showing him running from right to left, crossing the pasture. But it's in the distance. I'll just try this one, maybe. Nope. No match. Here's those tires. They're chained to the bodark tree. And
they ran it. How thick is that tree? About 4 inches, 5 inches?
Yeah, something like that. And it's really hard. I mean, this stuff will dull chainsaws. I mean, it is that hard a tree.
Right.
And that's why there it is, broken. They finally broke it.
You can see that's not cut either, guys. That's snapped off.
Snapped. They ran into it. They ran into it at full force. That's him doing it right there. I got it oscillating, repeating. They didn't realize they're filming into a mirror. And
okay.
There he is. It's his left arm breaking it. They didn't realize that this bright light would cause the iris to shut down and make all this dark. So this was in complete darkness when I got the video, but I brightened it up enough to see that. This is the mirror right here. You see the little outline of it, and there's your
yes
reflection of the lantern. And watch it again. You'll see he'll come in off the right side and just run into it. Let me see if I can find there it is. This is the left arm. Let me see if I can isolate that left arm. That's it. Right here. This is his left arm. He's catching that. See him hitting it?
Yeah.
He just hooks it like you would a football player. You might just kind of hook him, with your arm.
Yeah. And he's just hitting it with his arm, trying to knock it off. And it just fixated on these tires. They played with them. They were enjoying it. The people chained them up.
I've got another video that's got a picture of they look directly in the camera and they sniff the camera, and it's so dark that you can just barely see movement. And I brightened it up enough to see that it's got a very large forehead, and the hair begins with a receding hairline. The hair parts up at the top. I could see that. And it gets mad, starts throwing those tires. You can hear them bouncing. Let me see. I could find that thing.
So cool.
Yeah, I mean,
So cool
just
that I get to go through
all
your
of those
work with you. This
videos
is
are
so
incredible.
cool.
I got just tons of them I've never released, because I needed context. You know, one of the guys has died.
You're right.
The lady and the man who owned the farm are both dead. You know, so you see, the more time goes by, the less likely that I'm going to get my explanations and stuff for them. I don't want to put anything that they were just messing around, you know, or family stuff, candid stuff. You know, they
I
used.
got you. I got you. So you're trying to put like a story with it, like what's going
Right.
on
I
in the
just want their
situation, what
research.
happened at that time, as well as the footage. Yeah.
I just got it all. They just put
But
it
I got to be
all in
honest
a
with you.
tub.
Your research has helped a lot of people. A lot of people, because they see what they see, and then they don't know who to turn to, and then they find your videos and your breakdowns, and they're fascinated by them, and at the same time it gives them a bit of solace in what they're doing and what they've experienced. And it's kind of like, well, you don't believe me, check out this guy's, his research, and it just helps them get through it. You know what I mean? So Darren, I'm going to mention you again, buddy. You said he was so excited when I told him that I was going to have you on. And he was like, "No way, dude!" I was like, "Yeah, I'm having M.K.Davis is coming on the show." He's like, "Oh, that's so cool." So I figure I give him a shout out. This is to you, buddy. Here's one of your guys.
Look at this right here.
All
He
right,
comes
let's
right
get
up
it
to
up
the
there.
camera and puts his face in the camera.
All right, let's see if it's going to show. All right,
I got this one kind of.
look at the hair.
Let me get a better one than that. Let's see. Well, that's the only one that's showing. Sales videos.
Well, show it again.
Hold on. This is all raw stuff right here. That's Fence Climber. High quality disc. Let me just check that out. Oh, you see how long you got to watch it before it happens. Well, we can't. We don't have enough time to watch that. Let me go back. I could go back to doing this sales thing, and it wouldn't bother me a bit. It's really neat to watch. Let's see here. Sells tires, sells Shadow Man, sells house cam.
Shadow Man.
I don't even know what that means. I have to pick out 1,000 different titles. I just make up stuff, so I can tell
On the
which
fly.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. I know exactly what you mean.
Sales exports. I don't even know what that is. Hold on. Have you ever hear of this is just not video shot at night. Here's a scary one. Oh, hold on. If I woo woo. Oh, let them load up. Oh, this is the raw footage too. When I first played this, my speakers jumped off the desk.
So you spend hours upon hours watching this and trying to find something in it. That's so
You'll hear him.
that takes a lot of patience.
He'll shake a piece of tin. Now, what he's upset about is that they done put his food over in behind a fence. You can hear his footsteps there.
What?
I challenge anybody to do
What
that.
in
There
the
may be a few
world?
people that could.
What in the world was that?
I think that's about it. Let me replay that part. He's rattling that tin.
Right. What the?
He
It's
can't get
kind
to
of
the food.
comical. I don't mean to laugh.
He can't
Yeah,
get to
but
the
it's
food. It's that's why I hesitate to
he
call
starts
them
off.
habituators. Habituators are
No,
kinder
he
than that.
starts off like it might for someone to be able to do that, you have to. It starts off with Prince. I'm a music guy. It starts off with Prince, and it ends up with Phil Anselmo from Pantera. That range goes from falsetto to the deepest growl and grumblings of like discontent I've ever heard in my life.
That's why I say they're not us.
No.
Whatever they are.
All right.
That's
So
incredible stuff.
so I'm gonna ask you a question. So we're gonna have to wrap this up slowly. It's as sadly as it is. It's been a very long day for me, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to come back on and maybe go through the Zabruta film with me because that would be interesting. That would I
Sure,
be looking
I'd be
forward to.
happy to. Actually, it's a
That would
relief
be
it's a
wonderful.
relief to talk about it. It's so full of mystique that when a person starts to see the better stuff, and it's comforting, really,
It's
to you can kind of see what's going on there.
Yeah, it's a. I was just listening to another podcast because I had travel today about it, and all the inaccuracies and weird things going that the circumstances surrounding that whole event in Dealey Plaza, and then you said Sapruder film. I just went ooh, So I'll reach out to you and we'll do that. We'll do that. I want to, Mr. Davis. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart seriously
Sure
for
thing.
coming on and sharing some of your wonderful works with us. It's been incredible, and thank you so much, buddy.
Sure thing.
All right, so I'll contact you and I'll have you on again. I'll maybe in a month or so give you a little break that way we can get ready for it. All right.
That'd be great.
You have yourself. This is going to come out in January, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have yourself a Merry Christmas to you and your family, and a Happy New Year, buddy. Thank you.
Same to you.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye. M.K.Davis, was that great or what, guys? He literally went through his all his hard drives and was just like, hey, have you seen this? Hey, have you seen this? This is stuff I haven't even worked on yet. And I got to be privileged enough to see that. Darren, I got you, buddy. Thanks for so much for turning me on to Mr. Davis. And he is just a raw facts guy. He's into what he does. He loves what he does. And just the simple fact or the simple action of looking into the films on a clearer level, like The Braid, blew me away, man. That blew me away. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I truly, truly did. And we are the eye. We are aware. Thank you all very much. Love you.